Bueno, en partido contra NRG espero un partidazo, en verdad. Nosotros somos actualmente, yo creo, los dos equipos con más expectativas, ya sacando el sentido porque todos ya fueron campeones y todo el tema. Pero nosotros y NRG solamente como el roster en papel, somos considerados super equipos.
But Khalil is close now with the stinger, and beautiful trade there by Demon1.
Leviatán, they look way better in their second match than they did in their first.
Dejan el 4-1-3, le tienen que reiniciar el sistema, ese robot, a ver si lo hacen y lo consiguen, pero se ha caído en el suelo, junto a Sensi y Kickoff, que consiguen 3 eliminaciones.
Obviously, Asbaz is in form right now. We're gonna have to shut him down.
A 3 elementos de Sentinel, se lleva el número 27, 28 en camino.
Y nada, después de que estamos entrenando demasiado fuerte, sabemos el nivel que tenemos, les acabamos de ganar a los campeones.
We are in the thick of things here, midway through our VCT Americas Super Week. That's right, it's day 2, and our next matchup is an absolute barn burner. In the words of Kingg, 2 of the most promising teams in Americas, it'll be NRG taking on Leviatán. I'm over here on the desk alongside Ender, Mimi, and Athena. And I think that bumper's a great way to build some hype for this game. Both teams, a lot of respect for each other. They feel like they're both super teams.
I think the expectation for this game is kind of starting to set that pecking order for our top teams. I think most people are considering like Sentinels, Lev, Loud, and NRG as like those top 4 squads. And I think there's a lot of mobility within that. It's a chance for both these teams to prove why people are calling them super
Everyone's
teams.
revising history. They were so down on on Lev 2 weeks ago.
We put them top 3.
I put them.
It was an ugly opener for them, though, against Cloud.
Me and
But
Ball
the
are almost
second
having a
game-
fist fight up here.
But that's Bala. You're taking out your rage on Bala on the world.
Yeah, he's not here to defend himself.
He's not the world. He's
He
not
is
even
the world.
here.
I mean, as far as the world is concerned, NRG are looking to dominate it, just like they did to Furia last week. They gave up the first 2 rounds of map 1, and then they pounded out 13 straight. I think Furia in general, over the course of that entire series, wins only 3 gun rounds, and this makes NRG the only team across all of our leagues internationally not to have dropped a map yet in stage 1.
And this is what I love about NRG, because NRG are perfect at all the fundamentals. They are a team that is not going to give over the silly rounds to a poor performing team. No, they're going to come in, take care of business, and do it so perfectly. And that is what I just love about a top team that won't allow themselves to get silly sometimes.
Yeah, I fully agree. I feel like they push themselves to push the limits of being aggressive and taking those risks, but they also do it in a way that's like super cool, calm, collected, and they have like a plan behind each and every single one. Even if they mess it up, like everyone is behind them ready to fix everything that happened.
Their game plans on paper are so simple. They're playing really standard comps, and a lot of times playing stuff that was a lot more common last year. What makes NRG different than a team like Sentinels that is kind of innovating the meta, coming up with new stuff, they play simple things, but they execute on it perfectly, and they adapt incredibly quickly. I think the best way to kind of give an example of that is Demon1 and Ethan, and the way the 2 of them play together. The flashes are always perfect. The way that Ethan is setting Demon1 up, it's just lights out.
And while it is strong and simple, I do have to shout out the fact that they are starting to, play some of the Rays as well for Demon1. So putting some of that flexibility into a roster that back in Kickoff was completely hard locked on the Jet.
The big question, though, is they've beaten the two of the Brazilian teams, both of whom have not had a great start to this season. Now we're getting into the games where we really get to test the mettle for NRG.
Yeah, a lot of eyes on this particular matchup. I'm very curious to hear from someone who has always got a lot to say about the upcoming games. Let's hear from Demon1 and send it over to Elizabeth.
Demon1, if I have a quick word with you. Huge game today, hotly contested matchup between you and Asbaz. You know, Zekken called you two some of the best players in the world. How is that going to go?
I feel good.
Not even gonna buy the bundle?
Yeah, that was sarcasm, by the way. But if Victor is sort of handing this race
Wait, you
over...
don't think he feels good?
No, I mean, what I said beforehand about having many words to say. I mean, you have to know what you get with this guy. At the very least, he's consistent off the server as well as in. But if Victor is sort of ceding over the race duties, right, we might see him start to really settle into this Sentinel play, right? Because even the weak side for NRG looks like a strong one with Victor at the helm.
I think there are kind of two terms of it. You can't have a top team without a strong Jet player, but you can't be a top-level player only playing Jet. He's gotten more flexible, and that means Victor gets consistency. He was always known as the hyper-flexible guy, but I feel like his best role has always been Sentinel. When he's playing the lurk, when he's the stoic for his team, winning out the late rounds, clutching up, and adding a voice to the team.
Yeah, and look, he's still allowed to fry on the Rays when the time comes and they're playing those double duelist maps. But exactly what you said. I think this is a guy that when the round is simple, you know, and he doesn't have to, when he can play his own game, like, there's no one better.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing, too, is that each and every single one of these players has such a big voice, but they're all choosing to use it at the best moments.
Yes.
You can tell that there is no overcrowding of the communication, and Ethan just kind of set everyone up for success. And Victor is one of those people that is really, really good at using their voice, especially as that Sentinel, especially as a lurk.
I think he balances when he goes for lurks and when he actually commits to the rounds on the attack side really well. Because you have a team when you're sharing that position with Marv, who's also a guy who you want to set up for those plays, those kind of lurking style on occasion. I think he balances that really well because he, for so much of his career, was a primary dive player back on Optic. He was a guy making space for Ye, but I think he shifted into this Sentinel role, which he always played a little bit of, very well.
Yeah, let's move the conversation along now as well down the line for NRG because we have a fantastic matchup of IGLs today. We've got Ethan on the NRG side facing off against Kingg. Both players not only with great calling, their mid-roundings look exceptional from both squads, but also these individual performances from Ethan here specifically have been stunning.
Yeah, I feel like Ethan and Kingg are two really good people to watch if you do want to learn about learning rotations, learning how to abuse rotations and pushing players off their spots. Because for me, Kingg, the reason I put him on my super team was because when he was playing against all these other teams, he managed to not only pull up a game plan, he managed to work in each and every single strength of their players and put that to the test. Like, yes, they have Ospas going crazy, but he also managed to call around that. It's not that common you have an IGL that can fully support everything behind a player like that.
And I think both of these IGLs do such a great job of masking information. You'll see a Lev game, especially on their icebox, and on defense, you won't know who's playing where, but they're constantly shifting around who's actually taking the forward lines, whether or not, you know, Ospas is going to be fighting into A main aggressively or not, hiding behind a harbor wall or whatnot. They do such a good job of keeping that total confusion that you're playing against.
And in particular, switching up where their duelist player is sitting and moving around that operator. They have a lot of similarities in Ospas and Demon 1 and how you have to call around a player like that, and I think they both do it excellently.
And I think for NRG, I see a lot of that sort of variation off of a default on their attacking side, right? Because they're usually playing a lot more of these control-heavier comps, you know, Solo Sky and stuff like this. The way they work for mid-space and then veer off of that without giving you a clue as to which way they're going too early, I think that's what NRG's real strength is on the call.
It's going to be another big matchup here for Leviatán. They've already had to take on some heavyweight squads, and much of that rests on Kingg's shoulders. So let's head back to Elizabeth and hear from the IGL himself.
Kingg, can I have a word with you really quickly?
Yeah.
So obviously, a convincing win against Sentinels and...
Hey, bro, hey.
Get out.
I'm sorry.
Weirdo. Hi, Kingg, right? Kingg? Oh, no, you're okay. So obviously a convincing win against Sentinels last week. How is that confidence going into facing NRG today?
I mean, it's the only thing we needed to improve as a team, and we have it against one of the best teams, arguably. So now, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, pretty convincing until he was like, hey, bro, hey. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Nah, someone's got to stop that man. He's trying to sneak his way back into play somehow.
Bro, he's been conditioning us by wearing shades
Every
on
day.
all of his casts, right?
True.
So now you don't even know if it's Kingg up there on the Discord baby by himself. But let's keep talking about
One day
Levy.
he's just going to be playing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he gets in there and starts schmeeging, rolling back the years. I'd love to see that. But on the topic of Leviatán further, going by their track record, there's a couple outcomes today. They'll probably go into overtime, and there's a good chance that this man, Aspas, will farm. That's right, folks. We're finally getting on to this topic. Aspas broke the single map kill record on Lotus. 47 kills. Now, it was a hugely long map. It's still incredible. And in 29% of maps, which is 4 out of 14, he has dropped 30-plus kills. Who is going to stop this man?
It's tough to say because he is.
Someone with a calculator.
He's so ridiculous. Sentinels could not shut this man down. When he's playing on the Raze, he's sick. When he's playing on the Jet, he's sick. He can play all these roles at an incredibly high level. He integrates into his team's ideas, and I mean, he's just a superstar, which is why today the matchup against Demon 1, even if you're discounting all the fun stuff about the IGLs or the placement of the teams, just in terms of watching two incredible players face off, that matchup's going to be ridiculous.
This is just the best Valorant of the week.
Yeah. And I mean, if there was to be someone to match him, it would be Demon 1.
It really looked like at the end of that Sentinels game that Kingg was bowing to Aspas. I could see all of their faces like,
I wouldn't be too
if we lose this, Aspas is not going to talk to us for a week. Like, he might be out of here. Like, we don't even know. We've got to kick this guy here.
Imagine that timeline where he drops almost 50 and like it was so possible. It was in deep OT.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. I do want to say though that obviously Aspas did have a ridiculous game. It's not like it was a 1v9 show, especially in the first half. Like the first half of Lotus when they played against Sentinels, when they went 9-3 up, Aspas had 14 kills in 12 rounds. Like, that's good, but that's not, like, ridiculous numbers performances. And I think what Lev were doing a really good job of was in those opening brawls, trading off each other very nicely, good utility. It was those fights that they were winning out, and that was
Rumble
not...
fights, the Mount fights.
That was not due to just an insane Raze player. That was often the supporting staff getting the majority of kills.
Yeah, a lot of the time people think playing Duelist is just like hold W and win your kills, but actually no, there's so many layers when it comes to it. When it comes to playing that role, you need to be able to have a support system. You need to be able to have a sort of idea of what's going on, and you need to be able to catch those consistencies that the other team is doing and take and abuse those weaknesses. And I feel like Aspas is such a smart player, not only insane mechanically, but his brain, he is a giga brain, low key when it comes to that Duelist role. A lot of people cannot even step up and do what Duelists do.
A lot of people in the community, I think, got the kind of notion after this game that Leviatán was a team that was carried by Aspas. I understand why. He got almost 50 kills in one map, but as you're saying, Christy, that's not the case. I don't think their identity is just that Aspas is an insane individual. I think similar to when Loud was at his best, at their best, when they won the championship with Aspas in peak form, it was in large part because of how good he was. But what makes it possible is how the team builds around him, how Kingg is calling for this star player, and how I think how many different looks they can show, right? Being able to change up different ideas throughout a game and really build around him in a great way.
Yeah, you saw it even in the clips there where Tex was playing back yellow on Icebox behind a harbor wall. A lot of times when Leviatán are on Icebox and playing heavy in B main with a harbor wall, that's usually an Aspas on that angle too, but instead they're playing off some Killjoy utility as well.
Yeah, for me though, I feel like I'm not fully convinced that if you removed Aspas's fragging power from the equation, that Lev would be as strong.
For sure.
Okay. But seriously, I feel like I have no clue what is behind the
What do they look like if he
Lev.
goes off the boil?
Exactly,
is that your question?
yeah. I have no clue what it looks like. For me, I don't necessarily feel like they have the best fundamentals. I don't feel like they have the best
look at their first
protocols.
series against C9. It was a disaster
It
in
was
that third
so
map.
sloppy that looking and watching back, it does not make me convinced that Lev as a team is complete unless Aspas is.
And they're up against a team that has the best fundamentals probably in the league.
I need some preds here. Let's jump into those right now. Start with you, Christy.
Oh, I don't want to do it. Honestly, I put Lev as my number 2 name before the year. I'm gonna go Lev 2-1, but that's crazy.
It's 2-1 NRG.
2-1 NRG.
That 2-1 NRG, there's always
it's gonna be good Valorant.
It's good. Yeah, again, like you said, some of the best Valorant of this week. That's what you guys are ready for. So strap yourselves in and hold on to your saddles. Our teams are ready for walkouts. So let's send it down to the stage for NRG versus Leviatán.
Riot Games Arena, let's make some noise for NA's very own NRG!
para enfrentarlos desde las profundidades. ¡Leviatán!
Faster.
In even a huge game like this, a lot of questions still remain about the quality of both these teams. Two self-proclaimed super teams here of the Americas region. NRG are pretty low energy in general. You talk to Chet, talk to any of their players, they're calm, collected, not subject to the sort of whims of momentum. Leviatán also have been able to conquer some pretty difficult obstacles here without overheating. This really is a great tone setter, I think, for the rest of Super Week and even for the rest of this stage, these heavyweights throwing down.
I think both these teams have two very different questions. For Leviatán, it's about that performance against Sentinels. If that can be consistent, if Osbus isn't putting up those numbers, can they still beat the best? Because that first series was not great from this team, losing out to C9 in super sloppy fashion. They have a lot to prove there. But for the side of NRG, these guys as well, they haven't played a team the level of Lev yet in stage one.
Yeah, I mean, they played against a Loud that was coming hot off Madrid, right, without a lot of time, and then, of course, Furia, too. So I agree with you on that front. This is the big competition, the big challenge for them here today.
Yeah, I feel like both these teams have a lot to go for sure. But I am just really interested to see how both these teams manage to shut down the other's duelist. I feel like that is going to be the name of the game. I literally feel like this is going to be so explosive because both these duelists are going to be trying to go for things that they probably shouldn't, or maybe they're going to be getting shut down, hopefully.
Hearing from Sudhak now, again, that game, maybe don't read too much into it against NRG. He said he relished the opportunity to shut down star players on opposing teams. He played with Aspas. He knew what the mentality of a star duelist was like. He loved trying to, target them and bring them down a notch. That did not work against NRG. They ran roughshod over a Loud, who were a little bit wobbly coming off that travel. We're going to have Sunset here to start us off in the series.
Look, this map pool is pretty sweet because I feel like Sunset and Bind challenge very different things, right? Sunset, a really tiny map, really scrappy. Bind, a little bit more of a macro sense. And if we make it to a third map, it is Duelist 1v1.
They played Phoenix on Sunset, Leviatán, no?
Yes. That feels like a fever dream, but that was real. That did happen.
But it's also fake. Don't do it again.
Yeah, a little bit of an ugly game that was in general, but that's definitely something that they peddled out at the start of this stage. Whether or not they're sticking to that is another story entirely. And look, we've seen a bit of this Sunset play from NRG. They've been able to group up Marved over on towards that A side here. They have a lot of that flash util and can really leave Victor in control of that weak side, right? This is a map where NRG style gets to shine a lot, leaving that in safe hands.
Into the agent select now here, and it looks like NRG going to be kind of continuing through with this comp that has become so prevalent here on Sunset. The KO Gecko, I think right now is straight up the strongest comp you can play. They dumpstered on Loud with this one last time.
And really, it's just another look at Demon 1 Raze, right? Which I think we're just always looking for more tape on that to see how it is.
Absolutely, and you have so many tools to set up your Raze player with this comp. Those Gecko KO combinations with both the flashes coming at you at once. It could be a field day for Demon 1.
Yeah, for me, with that breach pick from Lev, I'm looking for more trap plays and hopefully enough to kind of shut down Demon 1 from getting those entries.
Here it is, Leviatán, a much less silly-looking composition this time around on Sunset. We're ready to get into game, so it's time to hand it over to your casters. You're in good hands, folks, because we've got Doug and Baby Bay.
Thank you so much, Uber Dre. I think one of the benefits of a match like this is that you don't really have to add anything additional for people to get excited, right? Yeah. You've got Demon 1 up against Aspas. You've got Leviatán against NRG. The script writes itself, and this should be a banger.
Yeah, especially with Leviatán winning against Sentinels, the Madrid champions, which is
actually insane. And the way that they did it with Aspas going absolutely nuclear against them. Can he replicate that against the squad of NRG, who, if you've watched their comm videos from even last week, yeah, they played a Furia, but it was so clean when I was listening to this. And man, NRG just seems to get better and better and more dialed in on their strats, on their win conditions as time has gone on. And this is going to be a big test for both teams going into this pistol round.
Yeah, I think much like, oh, actually, hang on, Leviatán has already sent 4 down mid. Ethan the first to receive the aggression, and he dishes it right back. 2 early kills found, and now the map is wide open.
Instantly going back to A here, just grouping up, but they still have a lurk of Victor to hold the flank. He's not going to get any action, but you already see the different type of layers and setups they have.
Yeah, I think they're already ahead of the one way that you just saw Kingg put out. They have so much space they've taken. This is such a luxury, such a benefit to be able to play from this position. You can give some of that space back.
Even just the utility combo there, pop flash with the nade, catching anybody off guard if they're there. Ooh. Oh, he gets punished though.
From that same one way that he had already cleared. Now Crash, he's blinded, he's nearsighted, he can't see a damn thing. Mazino's there in the trade, and it's all gonna fall down to Calm.
Player standing.
Calm on a Cypher roll against a very weak Demon 1. Calm wins out the 1v1, and the pistol goes the way of Lev.
That's insane. It was a 3v5, but the Omen flash from Kingg actually got 2 players there, 1 on default and 1 back sight. And that was the big pivotal point in that round. That brought it back for Lev.
See if we can take a look at that again, because yeah, you're right. It felt like that was a round that should have gone the way of NRG.
Yeah, that flash from Kingg that hit the person on Jenny Ann's site, it was actually the demise right there. And Calm winning the 1v1 against his former teammate. 2 champions in the server. The head-to-head. And something to point out here is Calm is playing the Cypher on this map. And normally that's Tex's role on this team, but Tex, you know, the second map is Bind, and Tex is known for playing Gecko on it, so I think they just wanted to keep things a little bit similar in that aspect.
And Calm is already delivering. We see him win that 1v1. He's been the recipient of criticism for the majority of the split, to be honest. I think it wasn't up until last weekend that he was able to silence some of the doubters and the pundits who have had thoughts about this squad and whether or not it's coming together and kind of what the ceiling is for them. So really encouraging if you're a fan of Leviatán for Calm to be clicking the way he was. And again, that was in the face of a 3v5 at the very beginning of the round. Yeah. They had full numbers, they had space, they had everything.
Yeah, I already know Chet's backstage over there just beating himself up over what just happened watching that, because there's no world in which NRG should lose that. They had the complete advantage in that scenario, but the utility was just not quite there.
It's interesting to see Leviatán in their approach this round. In the previous round, it was just a heavy push down mid, which went in the way of NRG, but this time, much more cautious.
Yeah, these eco rounds have been so crazy in VCT this year. I feel like we've seen so many crazy things, especially out of C9 and all these other teams, but anybody can really do it, especially when you're up against Demon 1 and the rest of NRG.
I wondered if Kingg was going to swing there. The paranoia and then the fault line. It's just such a brutal trap. Now you start to see some of those kills come through. King's already got 2 on the round. The third will crumble.
Spike planted.
The spike was planted. Consolation prize. That's really all it is.
Yeah, not a bad round for NRG. Yeah, they didn't get a lot of guns out, but they actually farmed the B orb and then ran all the way back to A and got a bomb plant down. So that will definitely help out the economy of NRG in the long run. And I guess they got some armor off the Leviatán players, so that's good as well.
As we head into the third, you see Kingg 1 point away from having his ult online, but interesting that they chose to funnel that diffuse orb into the hands of Tex.
Yeah, I mean, Gecko ult on this map is so insane. I feel like I've broken a record when I talk about it, because these Geckos get ults so fast, sometimes 3, 4 a half, and it is definitely the character that you want it on. It's so easy to farm the orb on the Gecko on both sides.
Oh, it's aggressive from Aspas. Has already taken the middle of the map.
Yeah, I think he got found out though. Marved so wary about that.
Even then though, I mean, you're gonna have to invest a fair amount of utility to take the space back.
Oh, and I like this from NRG. They heard the Deagle break the Cypher cam of Victor, and they're opting to hit that side of the map. understanding that that is the weak gun. So really reading into that.
With no real idea of what's happening around it either.
Yeah, and Crashies is also already one off of his Gecko ult. That's insane. They lost the last 2 rounds.
So if the orb is up, which I believe it should be, yeah, there it is. Crashies will get his ult online. They're gonna presumably ult out onto B. The thing is, Leviatán are already ahead of it. They have 4 here. They're gonna commit to it anyway. That's gonna hurt. The ult no longer a factor, and they've been hit by the fault line. But they're choosing to brute force their way into this. Persistent in their approach, and it's a grinder. Leviatán just roll over NRG. It's just Marv who's alive now. A 1v5 against poor weaponry. It's not delivering this time. What a start for the defense.
Ooh, that's a big round to win. Winning bonus just fuels your confidence as a team. And the way they won it too, right? So convinced that that was going to be a B hit. And Mazino's utility was insane right there. We saw the breach shock to get the Gecko off of the ult. Otherwise, Crashies just dies there for free. And then that stun ends up getting 3-4 players, just delaying the actual hit and disrupting the timing of the entry for NRG. That was insane. And that causes a timeout right away. This is very early.
Oh, yeah, we haven't even started round 4.
And it was fast. Like these last 3 rounds are relatively fast in general.
So an outrageous start for Leviatán. I think if the intent is to just make it feel like NRG are trying to push through quicksand to get out on these sites, that round that we just saw is a really good example of how that's supposed to work. So everything really going their way. It's early, but this is a really good start.
Yeah, Mazino already on this breach was, I mean, that was so impressive. His set of utility that he just did right there. And to have the supporting flashes as well, once the actual flood comes through, I mean, that just opened up everything for Aspas and Kingg to run through that market smoke and get free kills.
A reminder, this is an NRG squad that has not dropped a map this entire stage. They've been cruising, and yeah, you can have the conversation around who their competition has been, but the truth is they've been the most dominant in their wins, and they arguably have the most upside, the most potential. So this is a really impressive start.
They better try something else.
Yeah, and on the flip side, Leviatán, I mean, we've seen Aspas go crazy, but they still somehow lose some of the matches that they play. So this is a big test for them to figure out if they actually understand how to close out maps when they get in the advantage.
4 stingers invested for the attack side. Both flashes out. Demon One's lit up, and Aspas just has his way with them. All the stingers are still up though, and if the plan is to go fast and aggressive, they're doing so. The spike has been planted. They've created some space, even upgraded 2 weapons. And it might be getting worse. Mazino falls. Kingg follows suit. Tex kept at bay by a trip, now has to reposition, and if he goes to market, he's going to find another.
That's one way to win a round, that's for sure. Yeah, he's got to just save right now.
Yeah, first it was the trip, then it would have been Crashies and Vic.
And Demon One actually got obliterated on the entry again. A Cypher trip hit him, but it doesn't matter because NRG's timing on that hit was so fast. You saw Mazino wasn't ready this time with his utility, so the breach really ended up getting not that much value, especially how much value he got the round before. This was like night and day. So already a small adaptation made from NRG to just do an explosive hit into that round, not get stuck behind any utility, not get stuck in the choke, and just trade.
I think the chess game will be really interesting to watch too, because I think given what we know about NRG, they like to feel out the map and then respond.
Yeah.
So if you know that you've got this crazy delay on the other side with Cypher trips, with fault lines, with paranoias, with Gecko util as well, you either go really fast to get ahead of it, or you feel it out, draw it out, and then hit the other area of the map. So it'll be interesting to see what their approach is here.
Yeah, especially when you play against that breach. Like you stated, you have to try to get that quick timing, explosive timing, because if he's there and ready for you, that utility is going to absolutely destroy you.
Does Tex flash out of this? Oh, it's going to be too late now. They're all in the smoke! Wow. Tex gets 2!
Spike down mid.
What a round!
I mean, they hard read into that. They had 2 players in market and 2 players top mid into the smoke to converge on mid if they heard anything. But they didn't need to. All they needed to do was just wait their turn. Wait to hear any sound happening at all, and that would have been the cue. The cue this time around was just the contact made in the smoke. Nice little pinch from market. And the pinks came out too. Look at that.
They knew. What a start,
One
man.
enemy remaining. Spike.
Let's go.
What a round.
Oh my God. I've seen that smile before.
You know, dude, Galaxy braining his way through these first 5 rounds. Guns on the side of NRG once more. An ult for Demon 1, Ethan 1 away from his. Meanwhile, Aspas and Tex, and Mazzino actually, are in a very similar position.
Yeah, they're doing this on purpose. They want to funnel NRG into this A site because they are committing onto this retake with Cypher trips to try to get spam kills. And NRG should have a good idea of this because Cyphers usually aren't the ones that push into B main with the main pack. So I do expect a lot of cautious play here.
Leviatán are already here, man. Oh, even if they give up some of the space, they have all of this retake utility. The question is, do they flood or do they wait?
Spike planted.
Oh, the breach shot's gone.
That has to buy some time. Can they stabilize? Can they hold them back? Zeno still patiently waiting. You see that first paranoia come out from Marv. Nothing found yet. The knife managed to be dodged by Mazzino. So now they're able to go. The question is, how many will they hit? The paranoia is certainly going to help, but Vic still gets one. But Kingg with 3 on the round responds. It's all on to Crash. He's now. Can Kingg do it on his own? Crashy trying to dodge all the bullets. Can Kingg going for the ace? The clip will not be found.
Oh no!
Crashies gets another. Time is short. Aspas has to stick it. Crashies can play this super well. There's no way! Oh, the classic betrays him.
And there's just nothing he can do about that. His crosshair's on the head, but that inaccuracy from the classic just doesn't go his way. Pure RNG. We love that. Can we take a step back, though, and talk about Kingg? This guy just went crazy on that retake. That first bullet inaccuracy of the classic, that's insane. No way. Kingg is sitting at 11-3 right now. IGLing, fragging out. And look at the ult economy now. You have Rocket, you have Gecko ult, Omen ult for the rotate if you need it.
How do you bounce back from something like that? It feels like an opportunity that's just lost. You don't really have time to think things over, though.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate.
Yeah, reset and go into the next.
I mean, that's 2 rounds now from NRG that arguably could have gone the other way.
Should have gone the other way.
Pistol and now this, and crucial rounds. Slow mid approach.
Yeah, it seems like a lean towards B. You've got Cypher Util here. Comms waiting on the other side. Mazzino not far off. That one way is miserable.
And stun not used yet either.
Patience.
Yeah, Mazzino holding onto that. Now it comes out.
45 seconds left on the round. You see how much respect is being shown. Tex is still playing back in spawn. Really understanding what the pressure points are, where you can gamble a little bit more and take some space.
Oh, this is...
Oh yeah! Monster on the 30 seconds left.
Oh, he's going back in. Oh, he's going back in. He gets one. Does he know there's another? No, Ethan falls. Goes up top. Marv joins him.
Last player
standing. Oh my gosh.
Dude, Kingg is...
Yo.
Kingg is on one.
He's so fast right now.
Goodbye.
Poor Vic, he's just on the other side of the map. He was the win con had they actually gotten into A site. He would have wrapped all the way around. But it doesn't matter, it doesn't get to that. That was really good proactivity from the side of Leviatán. Doubling up there, Kingg and Aspas, taking that A fight. And that was a Gecko ult invested from Crashies, but it got shot down so fast. That allowed Crashies to actually pop that rocket. Look at this guy.
Dude, Kingg has just been
man
possessed.
It's not over yet, though, especially when it comes to Leviatán. I feel like they put themselves in such a great spot, but somehow in these maps, they can definitely slip away.
Well, it's aggressive here, and Kingg continues to farm. Lighter weaponry on the attack side, sure. But they continue to have their way with NRG.
Yeah, and this Gecko ult just to re-clear out everything. Marv tried to finesse it, gets caught off guard. And Leviatán are just a couple steps ahead at the moment.
One enemy remaining.
Understanding how NRG wants to rotate off of those kills.
This feels like more than a couple steps. This has just been an outrageous performance from Leviatán.
Oh.
He's gonna get knifed, isn't he?
The team flash as well. Oh, whoa, whoa. That boy Tex.
14-4 for Kingg. I think the other thing I wanted to mention, and we just saw it pop up on our screens, that's a second timeout already used.
Yeah.
For NRG.
This is their map pick too. And the whole point of them picking this map, they probably understood that they're going to get the attack inside. They want to be able to set the pace, but so far, starting with that pistol round, I think it was just such a devastating loss that it's kind of hard to bounce back from moments like that. Especially because on the other side, confidence just pursues. Like, we just won a 5v3 or a 3v5 in their case, right? I mean, you should not be winning rounds like that. So when you do, it's just like, okay, I can do anything now.
Yeah.
And that's where you see the confidence of the re-aggro.
I think for Leviatán, there were a lot of questions, right? How good can this team really be? Yeah. This felt much like the conversation we had yesterday. This match felt like one that you're really going to find out a lot about those squads, right? We're going to find out Leviatán are real if they can win without Aspas dropping 45 or whatever every single time. If
70
it's going to be
in the series.
Yeah, if it's going to be him and Kingg, or, you know, how this is all going to come together. Will Kong continue to deliver much like we saw in the previous week? They've answered every single question that's been thrown their way.
So far.
Right there.
They've definitely done that. NRG, no slouches, though. Second timeout. The last time they took a timeout, they won a round. Let's see if they can string together a couple here.
That goes there.
Get a comeback in this half.
Okay.
The constant setup changes from Leviatán are so cool to watch. Now you have the breach and the gecko towards the A side of the map just to set up Kingg here. And on the other side, you have Aspas holding B with Calm.
They're going to try to test this setup again. And, you know, it goes back to the conversation we were having earlier, right? For the attack side, how do you approach this barrage of utility that can delay you so hard? Here, they've drawn out some of that util. They've made some noise, but then they've cut it, and it seems like they want to re-hit this. But much like we've seen in the last couple rounds, Leviatán are ahead of it. Tex is already here. And they're still getting the kills. Demon One falls. Crashes is going to join them. It seems like they can do no wrong right now. And through the slight delay, now the rest of reinforcements have arrived. Aspas has arrived at the scene. It's all on Marv and Vic now.
One enemy remaining.
And Marv is left standing by himself. A 1v2, 70 HP, no armor. Spike well out of reach. So much left to do. And the final boss of Kingg on the other side with Mazino looking over his shoulder.
30 seconds left.
Such a difficult situation. Really playing mind games as best as he can, but they're not fooled.
Yeah,
8-1 for Lev.
King's not falling for that at all, and it just seems like Lev right now, they're just doing everything right. Even the trips that Calm put right there, avoiding the raise nade from Demon One. And they're really passive trips. These aren't kill trips for the actual entry. So just getting caught off guard is NRG. And that's because of how Lev have been playing this defensive side. They're changing a lot of their setups. Look, again, a new setup once more.
Right there.
This game plan that they had is ridiculous.
And they're gonna have Aspas show here in the B main to act like it was a similar setup as the last round, but Cypher's actually on the A side of this map.
See the fault line come through, the paranoia out as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was all on purpose. Aspas got hit by the knife on purpose, and Kingg dodged it to try to punish if anyone's there. But now Tex, pretty wise to just back off there. No need to do any heroics, especially with the way that they've been winning these rounds.
I think it shows a lot of discipline too, because when you're up 8-1, when it feels like everything is going right, you want to swing that. You want to take the fight.
Double flash right here.
On the other side of the smoke, they both come through. They're so done. Mazino gets 3.
Down A.
Can he do what Kingg could not? Ethan tucks tail, runs away. And again, the spike well out of reach.
Oh!
He's gonna get him, isn't he? No. I've jinxed him. And now Kong drops Ethan, Marv left alone. We've seen this before.
30 seconds left.
I mean, if Marv wins this, so just cement him as even more of a GOAT in the game of VALORANT. But I think it's nearly impossible.
Yeah. There's just so much left for him to do.
Yeah.
What a stomp. What a subversion of expectations, too.
Yeah.
Do what we do. Get back to
I have to point out that in these rounds, you know, in the last series we saw from Marv, we saw him doing a lot of timings in mid, doing these lurk plays. The old Marv, right? The one that we knew and loved. Yeah. But Kingg has been actually checking the entire other side of the map while this is all happening to try to catch out Victor or Marv on these lurks. He's actively seeking that 1v1 to make sure they don't get flanked on the retakes.
Oh, this is a nice
and something small like that goes a long way. It gives you way more confidence to actually flood in. Again, Osbot's deliberately showing into B main, and this time changing his position, not actually anchoring the B main, but Victor should have that information at this point.
Oh, a little bit of tag on a Mazzino there, the spam into the smoke. There's a lot of presence on the other side of this. The thing is, Leviatán have their reinforcements. They're not far off. Aspas playing in market, calm, close by.
They're playing for this mid crunch.
And just like that, they wrestled the space back out of the hands of NRG.
Yeah.
How do they get through this? Mazzino playing close.
Interesting smoke, too.
This feels like we're trying to find any space that we can. Team 1 pushing the smoke, contacting his way in. Marv tries to find some space mid and is met with a similar fate.
Camera taken out.
And now they know the rest of the members are trying to funnel the way out onto B, but Leviatán are already here. It's the same story.
Oh my gosh!
It's the same outcome.
I actually thought NRG did a really good job of baiting out all of that mid utility. I think they had a good idea that Lev was ready to do a breach halt play if they made any type of noise in mid, so they kind of feinted it, right? They baited out all that utility in mid on purpose. But then, you know, just trying to find the gaps after that, they get punished for it. Right now, Lev is watching all these entries. They're not allowing any weird lurks to come through.
You on the other side?
7 rounds in a row. This has been an outrageous performance.
Yeah, it's a hell of a way to start a half.
I got you.
Especially after you probably should have lost the pistol round. This is nuts.
Really not looking back. Last round of the half, guns for the attack side. They have Ethan's ult.
Oh, the stun. He got off the stun.
Mazzino's got his ult back online.
Look at him on the minimap, how he rotates after he uses that stun. Already going to top mid. He's here for the instant aggression if anyone goes through mid.
And as soon as that smoke goes up on the right side of mid, they know they're going to try to pressure the other side. Mazzino's there to greet 3.
Oh my god, he's alive.
He hasn't taken a lick of damage.
He's still alive.
He's surrounded now. Ethan hunts him down. Crashies finds another. Finally, a little bit of room to breathe, but are they going to get choked out once more? Kingg finding one, a 2v2 for the rest of the round. Both faced. Tex in a 1v2. Can he deliver? No. NRG get the second, and honestly, it was as difficult as the entire half has been for him.
Yeah, they had to fight really hard for that. Pushing Mazzino all the way back into spawn and then into that B lobby area. Finally getting caught off guard by a flash from Ethan.
Not a single player of NRG on the side of NRG is positive. Not one. When you think about this roster and the way it was constructed, there's no way you would expect that.
Very good, very good.
Gouda?
See, that's flow state right there. We're gonna throw it down to the desk and see what they thought of that 10-2 half in favor of Lev.
One of the most dominant halves of the stage sees Leviatán head straight into the halftime with 10 rounds to their name. That is incredible, but they've looked fantastic. Their trap plays have been astonishing. This defense, impenetrable.
Look, if Lev are Gouda, NRG are looking like Swiss cheese after what Lev just did to them in that half.
Holes.
Like, it was so nice. I think the calling from Kingg around setting up those trap plays and whatnot was fantastic, but also, this guy was just frying in the server. So dominant.
Yeah, he was so good, and the speed at which they were so ready to execute those protocols with the trap plays is what made it so much more effective. And then holding down the sites, making sure that their sentinel was not going to be able to get overrun. Lev had a really great half.
And it wasn't just like the VALORANT setups from the start of round that was dominating NRG. A lot of it came in mid rounds, you know, refighting out of shop right there when they had stacked 5 players over towards the A site, or even in round 11 they didn't get kills, but they'd rotated into mid to try and punch NRG out after taking early space.
It kind of felt like they had control of the whole game from the early round and the mid round all the way down to like the post-plant situations. And every single one they had control.
100%. I think it's because they kept getting on forward lines, especially over towards the A side of the map. So with the information they got with that deep vision, they're able to set up traps away from the Cypher as well. It was just very, very strong from start to finish.
I mean, if the question we had was what do Leviatán look like when aspas is not dominating the game, we might be seeing some of that depth now, maybe some of the depth that was absent in that Sentinels game. Because yes, aspas has been impactful. He's been in the game. He's been relevant. But Kingg knows he has been ruling the roost right now, peering down from his throne, and aspas gets to maybe take it a little bit easier at times.
Dude's asleep!
Yeah, well, this is standard. I mean, this is very standard aspas behavior here. He's absolutely chilling. So let's get this second half back underway. aspas is sitting up in his seat, and so should you be. Let's head back to our casters.
Well, this was nowhere near, I think, what anybody expected going into halftime of the first map. But alas, here we are, where Leviatán have just obliterated NRG from top to bottom. But as it goes, with the new half comes an opportunity to approach the map a different way, and that's what NRG are going to have to do. Seemingly insurmountable task before them. How do you erase an 8-round deficit and get back into this thing?
Yeah, and if I'm NRG right now, I'm just trying to even get warmed up, because I feel like there was a lot of shots where they didn't even have a chance. Just getting insta'd. Maybe the peak's just not on point for NRG right now, and they need a little bit more time. So they have to win this pistol round. They need to buy more time to get hot, especially going into a map like Bind, where you're going to see Tex on this again. Oh my gosh.
I feel like that's perfectly indicative of what we've seen so far. Calm understanding of the timing, realizing that was a weak area of the map, trying to get a jump on Demon 1, and that's huge.
He's playing the Cypher so well. I mean, he hasn't done anything too flashy in general, but he's just playing the role in itself really well.
And you don't really have to be flashy when you're up 10-2 and Kingg is dropping 20.5.
Yeah. What a great flash.
Dude, they're a step ahead of everything.
And they're not even going to commit. They're going back. Oh my gosh.
NRG look
30
lost
seconds left.
A new
on the
cinema
map right now.
A new cinema.
I mean, Kingg is just manipulating rotations any way he could possibly want.
This is a pleasure to watch.
A 5v3, which we saw in the first half.
I don't want to jinx it, man.
I mean, they're all stacked in main, too. Every single one of them waiting for NRG to face. With no real utility, Mazzino has his stun, Kingg has his flash.
Oh my gosh, this is so unlikely to be one for NRG.
There's the first, there's the second. The only real bit of utility that was left for NRG has been invested. Victor and Ethan, they're swinging this thing back. There's no way! There's no way! Mazzino's got it with the clutch, and of course he does!
Oh my gosh!
I'm great. You're welcome.
Unbelievable. The Red Bull clutch in the pistol for Leviatán. It looked like it was going to be disaster.
I got nothing to say. Mazzino's the GOAT. Oh my gosh. He's so calm with it too.
Yeah. A force from NRG with really no real option. A desperate need to make something happen. To force some sort of an advantage that's otherwise evaded and eluded.
Camera take cage triggered.
A 1-for-1 certainly helps.
Yeah, and this is gonna sound BM, but I feel like the best things from NRG that we've seen so far have come from the Stinger buys.
Yeah.
Like, they're just instaing with the Stinger, but for some reason when it comes to the gun rounds, it's not all quite there.
A little bit of damage dealt, but the kill ultimately in favor of Marv.
Oh, they hear this rotation too.
You did good.
The thing is, there's still a lot. Well, most of the weaponry is still up. They still have the Guardian, they still have the Bulldog. Both of those finding value.
Oh, he spotted him.
It's so clunky sometimes to play Breach. Body block, but he still manages to get his way out. Demon 1 with the Sheriff. Demon 1 who's been quiet all map.
Spike planted. Oh.
With an opportunity to be the hero! And he is for NRG there.
Okay. We need that if you're NRG. Anything to keep this game just going for a little bit longer. Get everybody's hands warmed up. He found such a great timing that in that moment, satcheling over the trip.
Gone here.
But actually, Kong was already dead, so it didn't really matter, but still.
Planted. One enemy remaining.
Tech's just getting caught out there is tough.
Yeah. And I said it, right? These Stinger buys from NRG has been the best look we've seen so far.
A hero rifle in the hands of Aspas. Full armor.
I like this.
Yeah, and then pistols around it. I mean, it makes sense.
And when you got a player like him on your team, you can do things like this. You've already seen the success of what Oxy can do. NRG are usually very, very good on the anti-ecos. Especially after kickoff.
You imagine as soon as that trip goes down, it'll creep forward. That's exactly what Aspas does, and they're trying to be so methodical about finding their fights. That's a big one onto Marv.
That's the smokes, and then they swap because he got low. Ooh.
Not really in a position to try to scoop up that weapon, so it's still just one rifle, and it's in the hands of Kingg, who's been just as good, who's been better than Aspas up until this point. Ethan feeling some of the pressure.
Wow.
Able to keep it at bay, at least for now.
They're so worried about
2v4, hello, they're close. Crashy's on the swing, the flash in his face doesn't matter. Aspas is left alone, trying to find a weapon. He will not be able to. NRG gets a 4.
Nice. Not the cleanest of anti-ecos, just because of how that round started with Marv getting picked off. And I mean, that's your smokes against an eco, but Demon 1 and Victor actually re-aggroing B main there to make the numbers even. And then that just ultimately ends up allowing Ethan to take out everybody that's funneling back to the A site. Right here. And the second kill was actually really clean. Confidence, just sit there. Commit to that duel. Ethan's having a map right now.
15 and 12 leading from the front.
Big change of pace from Lev. This is a fast A hit, but this trip looks deadly.
Ethan's hearing some of this noise. He has his ult.
The problem with playing a spot like this is if they actually commit on A, you already know that Breach Seas is going to come out and hit that little default bomb plant area. But they opt to go back, just depositing Aspas, and he's just holding for any re-aggression.
Question is, how far does the re-aggression go? Aspas will be tagged. You wonder here too how they interpret this, because you see Aspas, you think, well, the rest of the team's got to be close, right? He's not normally one to be lurking around.
Oh, that's so big. This timing is huge.
There's a trip keeping him at bay. But bullets will surpass that. The cam spots him. The timing is beautiful.
Unreal, Doug.
Calm again, getting the best of him. We've said that a few times now. Aspas has joined the fray. They've all rotated towards B. The Rolling Thunder will pave the way, but Marv TP'd ahead of it. He gets spammed anyway.
30 seconds left.
Just when it seemed like he had an opening, had some room to breathe, he gets punished. And once again, NRG at a numbers deficit. They invest everything they possibly can. Ethan's ult dropped. Victor swings his way into his death. And it's all under Crash. He's in the face of 5. Cannot convert. Cannot deliver. Leviatán on map point.
Calm just played such a smart round, saving his cam for the re-clear onto B main. understanding that NRG have been getting aggressive in that general area, especially Demon 1. I feel like he's pushed up like the last 3 rounds. And that's just an easy punish. And then the heads-up awareness to get the span on Marv as well.
That feels so bad if you're Demon 1. Like, you know what? Timing, bro. I got timing. The timing is crazy.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
It's such a tough spot because you either commit on the people that are swinging you, the footsteps that you hear,
right,
or you try to break the cam and get out, but Lev was just too close for him. And another aggro play down mid.
Speaking of close, but Mazzino's got utility set up and ready to go. If there's a Q, there's a problem. Thought he was going to sidestep his way through all of that. Paranoia looked a little low, but Dizzy connects. You've got King in the world hurt here, but again, Leviatán are here to fight.
They stayed for so long, and you can't do that against a comp like Lev. They have so much utility. Even if the breach goes down, you have the Gecko Flash. That's hard. It's hard to kill there.
And if that's not enough, you've got King's Paranoia too.
Yeah.
They have so many tools at their disposal. And honestly, Leviatán are playing them to perfection.
You want more?
You've got Vic, who's going to try to take some space around the flank, but he's got a clear trip, so now they know where he's headed. Kong's going to try to take that fight. Decides to give it up.
Thrash isn't done with
Join the rest of his teammates. Thrash instantly cleared, but so are Crashies and Ethan.
The trades are so good. Who puts a top mid trip when you're on attack? Some freaky stuff going on in this game.
It's going to have to do more than freaky if Victor wants to keep this thing alive. 85 HP, no armor. The need to make a play. Ever great. It's a little high-low. Will not happen. 13-4 on NRG's map pick. Holy smokes. Leviatán just put the world on notice.
I gotta shout out Calm here. I mean, I don't remember the last time I saw him on Cypher in general, and he played a phenomenal map. Just the small little things. Yeah, he's not at the top of the scoreboard, but the impact that he had of being an anchor, of getting all the information that was required in the round was superb.
You know what's crazy? Who is on top of the scoreboard? On a roster that has Aspas, that has King, you've got Mazzino, who's top fragging as Breach. For Leviatán is just asinine.
Yeah, and his utility was really good too.
He played it so well. You know, we said this a few times, how it felt like Leviatán were a step ahead. You know, they were reading a page ahead on the book. It felt like NRG were just reading an entirely different book. It felt like they were behind the entire time. King played a masterful game. He called their circles around NRG, and that's going to take us to mine. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.
Red Bull gives you wings.
lasted forever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I burned your letters, and I'm just forgetting about you. I'm just forgetting about you.